Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today is a new video. I am doing a sit down video today. I feel like I haven't done a lot of sit down videos lately and I kind of want to get back into the motion of doing sit down videos. I really enjoy bringing kind of value add content to you guys and just overall good content editing, everything in between. So if you haven't read the title for today's video, I am going to be discussing the 5 things that I learned working my corporate job, professional job, whatever you want to call it, whatever industry job you want to apply this to. I feel like this is pretty applicable to any kind of job, even if it's not corporate America. It can be applied to many different industries. If you like these kind of videos and you want to see more of them, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps me know what you guys want to see, the kind of content you want to see. Another obvious way to let me know what you guys want to see is commenting down below. And then if you like what you see and you want to go see other videos of mine, you can always click on my channel. I have playlists of everything. Everything is divvied up into lifestyle, beauty, health, I believe. And don't forget to subscribe. That really helps my channel grow and grow our family. And click the bell notification if you do subscribe, because then you'll be notified every time I upload. But other than that, I upload every Tuesday and Thursday of every single week. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so like I said before, there were a bunch of things that I had written down that I had learned in just the first almost, I guess it's 3 years now working in my professional job. And there were so many little ones and I just had to really divvy the list down because I know if I said all of them in this video, like the video would literally be 30 to 40 minutes long, and I knew I had to get it to be concise so you got the point. So I picked the 5 most important ones that I thought were important for everyone, and like the ones that I kind of learned when I first started working within my first year. So hopefully you will find these helpful and you can apply them to your own life. I did want to put a disclaimer out there that these are from my experience. Not everyone is going to experience these or have to use these or agree with them. You don't have to agree with everything that's in my videos. I've seen a lot of comments in my past sit down videos with people just getting so angry in the comments, and it's just, you don't have to get angry. You don't have to, you're allowed to disagree with me. It's okay. But one thing that I will not tolerate on my channel is just like harassing, mean comments, because I don't feel like that is very conducive to this environment on this channel. So just know that if you are putting mean, harassing comments in my comment section, your comments will be taken down, just to keep everything friendly. I try to keep my comment section as professional and give advice to people who are looking for advice. And I feel like when people see mean, harassing comments, that's not very inviting for people to ask questions. And so that's why I take those down, not because they hurt my feelings, because I don't really care about negative comments. Frankly, if people have to feel very strongly on a situation if they're leaving comments, and most of the time it's not even worth it. So I don't understand why people leave those comments, but it's fine. So let's get into the video. So the first thing that I learned while working my professional job, or something that I kind of caught on to the first couple of months or even like the first year, keeping my private life private was one of the things that I learned that was probably the most important lesson. That if you were to take one thing away from this video today, with any job that you do, having a factor of privacy in your professional life is not a bad thing. People are like, oh, she's just like a very private person. That's not a bad thing. And I feel like people think just because people want to be private about, like, you know, their personal life or like their marriage, their home life, maybe where they go on vacation, maybe where they live, maybe what kind of car they drive. That's kind of hard because like you drive your car to work, but I guess if you're working virtually, people don't really know what kind of car you drive. But what your income is. And I feel like when people, especially that one, when people ask you how much you make, I understand it. But personally, I think that's just like so incredibly rude. Some people may not think that's rude. I think it's extremely rude, especially if like you're not really close with the person and like you're just kind of like you've just met the person or you've known them. Sometimes, like even me, like I'm not really comfortable sharing my salary with anybody besides like my boyfriend and then maybe some of my family members, but I don't really tell my friends what I make, and that's for good reason. So Privacy is power. That's how you can remember this first tip is privacy is power. When you are private and when you keep everything silenced, there's nothing for anyone in the workplace to be talking about in regards to you that could be seen as in a negative light. I feel like even though we like to think that our coworkers aren't going to say anything negative, sometimes, you know, we're all human, we make mistakes, and sometimes people get off topic and start talking about things and then bring up other people and their situations when they're not around, and that's gossip. And I find that office place gossip is very common. Maybe not in your workplace. For mine, I don't think it's very common in my workplace, but also I have no clue. I've heard stories from friends as I've worked over the past 3 years that they have been hearing about office gossip and everything. So just that's one way to keep people from like talking about things in regards to you that may be negative in the office place. And that's in anything. That's like in college, school, what have you, any profession of work. By keeping everything private, you're giving people no, you know, pathway to talk negatively about you. Also, by keeping things private, you're kind of already setting a precedent and setting boundaries with coworkers to kind of, you know, let them know like what they can and cannot talk to you about. Like it's okay to ask you, like if people ask you what you did over the weekend, you don't have to share specifics. I work with a lot of people who just say, oh, I had a great weekend. I just spent some time with my family, or I spent time with my boyfriend. You don't have to go into details on what you did or if you traveled somewhere. There's so many different people. Just because you work in a professional setting does not mean people are going to act professional. And that's something that I've learned without going into too much detail. We're gonna go on to the next one. My next tip is that mistakes are inevitable, and to not be so tough on yourself when you make mistakes, especially when you start a first job. Please, for the love of God, do not do yourself the disservice of going into a new job and expecting and having yourself on this like pedestal of having to know every single thing that is in your job description. That is not expected. Is it, you know, is in a perfect world, would your employer like you to know everything? Obviously, like what employer would not want you to know every single thing about the job that you're going into? But truth of the matter is, especially in accounting, if like you're moving industries and stuff like that, for example, I work in an industry where I deal with like private equity clients. But if I went into like, for example, if I for some reason went into public, which I wouldn't, but if I went into public, it would be a completely different, you know, financials would be done differently, like taxes would be done differently. And I am very guilty of this. I have definitely made the mistake of going into my very first job. I think that's natural, especially if you're coming right out of college into your first gig and you just want to be the perfect employee. You want to climb the ladder. Like, I mean, I feel like that's everybody's aspiration, is to climb the ladder, and that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that, obviously, but I feel like you have to be realistic about expectations when you're first starting out, because you have to learn and make mistakes, and usually you have the biggest lessons when you make those mistakes. Like I was saying, as I expected myself to know everything in my job and to be the perfect employee and not to make mistakes, this caused a lot of anxiety, especially around work in my first year of working, and I felt like there was no room for mistakes, and like low-key, like the industry I work in, like there really is no, I mean, there is room for mistakes, but like certain tasks, like dealing with like wiring instructions and stuff, there's no room for mistakes in that. But they usually have processes set up so like you're not the only one checking those numbers, and someone's always back checking you, basically, which means like they're just checking your work before everything goes out, which is good. It's a good practice. But I think that, you know, just having that expectation of myself to be perfect in my job really caused a lot of anxiety. And when that causes anxiety and it's centered around your job, it doesn't make your job enjoyable. So I really had to work hard to get around that anxiety and to kind of like teach myself like, hey, like you don't have to be perfect. And even now, like I don't expect myself to be 110% perfect. I mean, I think it takes several years for an individual to, in the same industry, to be successful 110% of the time. So I still hold myself to the standard of doing the best I can every single day at my job and trying to learn something new, and, you know, have takeaway lessons from every day. But I also don't expect myself to be 110%, you know, crystal clean and pristine in the office and in the work that I do, because like no matter what, I work with people who have been in the industry for like 20-30 years, and they're always going to have some feedback, and I can't take that as, I need to take it as a good criticism, not as like, or constructive criticism, not as like them insulting me. And that's something that you have to learn. You have to kind of grow a thick skin. So something you may be asking, okay, Melanie, so it's okay for us to make mistakes, but how are we going to ensure that we don't make them in the future? Well, let me tell you, I have a couple tips that will help you not only not make these mistakes in the future, but also to kind of help those who are maybe coming into your position in the future, which in turn shows leadership skills and could potentially score you a promotion. So my biggest tip for those going into a new career, new industry, whatever, something that you're unfamiliar with, I would definitely say every time you make a mistake, or if someone comes back to you and has constructive criticism on a piece of your work, or maybe a project that you're working on, I would definitely tell you to jot that down, jot that mistake down, say what you did wrong, and then what the constructive criticism was, and how you could have made that better, or how you won't make that mistake again. That way, when down the road, if you are in charge of training someone for your position, you're able to do that, and you can even pass these notes along to them or make them copies of these notes and be like, hey, like this is what I did in the beginning, and like we're supposed to do it this way. That's really going to help, and that's going to show leadership, and that's just going to give you a good rapport with your coworkers, and that could even score you a promotion sometime down the road. But tip number 3 that I have for you guys is to find a mentor. This is probably the most important one. And it doesn't even have to be someone that you work with. It could be someone just in industry, or somebody on a different team. I would actually recommend getting someone who's not on your team. Even if you do get along with your manager or your whoever oversees your work, even if you do get along with them, that's great. By finding a mentor that is on a different team, and just meeting, even if it's just virtually meeting over Teams or whatnot, by doing that, they really can kind of aid you in the future during like your performance review, or if you have semi-annual or yearly performance reviews. I know a lot of people kind of believe that like you have to put in the hours, and to a certain extent you do. Like putting a lot of hours in to get ahead quicker is, it's like maybe like 30% of it. The other 60% is going to be networking. By networking, whether it's you want to leave your job or you want to get up, climb the ladder at your current job, networking is going to be your best friend, and just making allies and getting allies on your team and people who, more preferably above you that can vouch for you, is going to be really beneficial to you. So yes, like working hard, doing a good job, and then maybe putting in some extra hours, great. But I never think that you should like be putting in so many extra hours, like working 80-90 hours a week. That's ridiculous. Don't use your weekends to work. Don't do that unless you really enjoy your work. I know people are going to watch this and disagree with me. That's fine. I've had some comments, people disagreeing with me, don't think their argument was very valid, but I do believe in networking, and networking in business is like your number one ally, and it will always be that way. So that's how I got my current job, was through networking. It wasn't through merit, it was through utilizing my contacts and networking. So if I'm a living example for you, there you go. Okay, so the 4th tip I have for you guys today is to take breaks and then take advantage of your break time for your lunch hour, or if you have a half an hour during lunch, whatever you may have, take advantage of that. Personally, I don't think our brains are designed in a way to focus for a straight 8-hour period. And I think that utilizing like a 5-minute break just to walk around, even if you're working from home, walk around the house. If you're in an apartment complex, walk up and down the stairs of your apartment complex, down the halls, around the building. Do what you have to do to get your body moving, to clear your head. This is really good if like you're working on a really complicated project, just to kind of get out and refresh your brain and come back to what you're working on. Another thing is to utilize your lunch breaks, whether it be you have 15 minutes or a half an hour. I personally take an hour when I'm not terribly busy. Are there days that you're going to not be able to take your lunch because you're working on a project that's time sensitive? Of course, I understand that. But what I'm saying is don't make a habit of working through lunch, because I feel like once you start doing that, your employer or your boss, whoever oversees your work, kind of expects you to be there during lunch. And I feel like when you do that and then you stop doing that because you're utilizing, maybe like you've been doing that and then like you watch this video like, oh, I'm going to take my lunch break now. Like your employer is going to kind of be like, well, why aren't you working for the, why aren't you in the office, or why aren't you online, or what have you. It's kind of the same thing like if you're dating someone and they bring you flowers every week and then they kind of stop bringing you flowers every week, you're kind of going to start wondering as to why. Another reason I would say to take your lunch hour is because usually if you're being productive and getting ahead during lunch, like you're just going to get more work to do, so you might as well just take care of your mental health and take a break and refresh. And I'm sure your employer will appreciate you taking a break to refresh so you can come back to your work and do a good job. My last tip for this video is to prioritize your health. I think this is a really big one, especially in corporate America, especially if you have a job where you're sitting at a desk all day for 8 hours a day. I know I have a job that basically has me sit at a desk all day answering emails, doing financials, taxes, what have you. Really find time in the day. I know it's really hard to, sometimes maybe it's hard to, if you have an hour for lunch, it's hard to like, if your way of taking care and prioritizing your health is to work out. I know it's kind of hard to like stop what you're doing, go to the gym, get a full workout in, get back all in an hour. That's like really pushing it. That means like if your gym's 15 minutes away, you basically have 30 minutes to work out. If that's enough for you, that's great. Usually when I go to the gym, I need at least like 45 minutes once I get there to work out and get a full workout in and then drive back. So that's why I usually use the mornings. I utilize my mornings, and that's why I wake up so early every single morning, is so I can get up and take care of myself before I take care of my job. And I feel like by prioritizing myself and taking care of myself before I take care of my job, I end up performing better because I already have, by the time it's like 8 o'clock in the morning, I've already checked off 3 things on my list. So I've already checked off my cardio, my lifting, eating breakfast, taking a shower, doing my skincare in the morning. That's another great one, doing skincare. If your way of taking care of your health and prioritizing your health is to journal or meditate, do that in the morning. I find that I used to be someone when I was in college or in high school, I would do all this stuff after school, and I feel like it's natural that because we have to get online so early in the morning, it's natural to want to, work your 8 hours, get off, and then do your workouts and do everything. But what I found is that when I used to do that, it would clash with like making a healthy dinner, because I would work out and it would take like 2 hours to do everything, and then I'd have to eat dinner, and then I wouldn't end up eating dinner until like 7:30, 8 o'clock, and I really wanted to be in bed by 8 o'clock, or I wanted to do schoolwork at 8 o'clock, or I wanted to edit videos at 8 o'clock at night. And it just kind of smashes everything into like a really small window of like 4 to 5 hours. Whereas like if you get up early, I get up very early. I get up around like 5 o'clock in the morning. You don't have to get up that early. But I find that when I get up at 5 o'clock, hit the gym for about 40 minutes, come back, do 30 minutes of cardio on my Peloton. It's 6:15, take a shower. Usually I'm ready by like 7:30. If I have any editing or schoolwork to do, I fit some schoolwork in there. I do my breakfast. And I'm basically taking care of all my chores and stuff before I even have to sit down and do my job. Which in turn at 5 o'clock when I log off, I can relax or edit a video. And usually I have time just to like kind of watch some TV if I want to watch some TV and just take care of myself, take a hot bath. It really makes for a more productive work day, and then also while fitting in your life chores and whatever have you around the house. I just find that getting everything, doing the self-care in the morning has really helped me be a more productive human, not only in my professional life, but in my personal life. Okay guys, that is all I have for you today. I really, really hope you enjoyed this video. I really thought through this video because I really wanted to put something nice out for you. I know a lot of you are either in college or graduating college and going into your first job. So if I can bring any value to you that I've learned the past 3 years, I hope this video was super helpful. If you've watched this video and you found value in this video, please give it a thumbs up. It lets me know that you guys enjoy the content that I'm putting out and that I need to be putting out more of this kind of content, especially sit down videos. I feel like you guys really like the sit down videos, so I'm going to try to do more of that. Don't forget to subscribe if you like what you see. It really helps me out on this channel and it helps us grow our family. And yeah, so I will talk to you guys in the next one. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one.